Hi there, welcome back to Pierpoint. So we've got our head and lure all set up in the rod turners, and we're going to coat that with the Bondaseal Clear lacquer. So there's one rod turner on this side, and I've got another rod turner on the other side. So they'll be turning in the same direction. And then all I've done is got a couple of dowel rods with some cup hooks on either side, just to keep that lure suspended in the middle. Okay, so the important thing is to make sure that you've got a little bit of tension on that. Okay, so now we're just going to set that up. So what we're going to use is Bondaseal. Unfortunately the writing's round the other way. So we'll take the lid off, and then we'll pour some of that just into a little tin foil. So just enough to cover the bottom, so you don't need too much of this. Okay, and it goes off really quick, this. Like the nail varnish that some people use. I just need to wipe up my tin. Yeah, it's just like the nail varnish, but that goes off really quickly. This does. Okay, this Bondaseal does. Now this is about, I think, 12-13 quid a tin. You have to be careful. It goes off pretty quick if you don't stop the air from getting in. Okay, so we've got that. So that's what we've done. So there we've got the Bondaseal in the tin foil. So we get the old turners going, and just have to make sure they turn in the same direction. Okay, so that's spinning, and then just a small nylon brush is all you need. And like I say, you have to be fairly quick with this stuff as well. You've got a bit of time to just go over some of the pieces that you've done, but this is really good stuff. It's hard wearing. Okay, and you've got a little bit more time than your typical, let's say, nail varnish lacquer. The important thing is to get this lure turning so that you don't get any sort of streaks or anything like that. Okay, it's quite thin, which is really good. Okay, and then we'll just brush that on. Sometimes I use high build finish, but for this particular lure I just wanted to use the Bondaseal Clear coat. Okay, and then just see what that looks like going on, nice and clear. Okay, so at the moment we're getting good coverage. It's filling in those little scratches that I made earlier. Okay, probably could do with a bigger brush just to speed up this process. Okay, so this is just a small one, which is okay for now. And then what you find with this stuff is that because it's quite thin, so it's quite viscous, you don't get the bubbles with it. Okay, because it's really thin. Okay, we're just getting to the end now, almost there. Okay, you can see we've got a nice, not bad for, this is only my sort of real first attempt at using the Bondaseal coat. But like I say, you'll find that it's a lot easier to put on than perhaps your nail varnish. The size of the brush and the quality of the brush all comes into play as well. Okay, they do sort of ox hair ones and squirrel hair, rabbit hair, all sorts of types of brushes, and you have to find really the one that suits you. We're just coming to the end now. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that, and you have to be careful not to go back over what you've just done, because sometimes this stuff does drag. Okay, you have to be really careful with that. I just noticed a little spot on one of the eyes. If you missed it first time round, then unfortunately you're going to have to give it another coat. Okay, because it doesn't like it when you go back over it. So you have to be, let's say, quick and accurate the first time round. Okay, there's a little dink there. You might just be lucky. Okay, I think if I was doing this again, I would probably just use a thicker brush so that I can go quicker and maybe get slightly better coverage. But I say this is my first attempt at doing this. So there we go. That's the first lure coated. And just leave that spinning round. Okay, and then we'll give that, so this dries fairly quickly, so I would expect within the hour that will be ready to have a look at and see what sort of coat we've got on the top of that. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll keep you posted with the finished product. Hi there, welcome back to Pierpoint. So here we are. This is probably a couple of hours after coating the lure with the Bondaseal. So just tested it's touch dry, which it is. So quite happy with the results there. You can put a dust cover over the top of it. You can bake it in an oven. But what I find is that if you turn the heating on in your workshop and crank it up to about 70 to 80 degrees, it just has about the same effect. So there we go. Let's try and get this off now. Okay. So these just hold it in position. The elastic bands are just there in case one of them breaks. So there we go. Let's get the lure off of there. A bit fiddly. Okay. So after a couple of hours, what you can do is just give that a second coat straight away, because that's fine. That's what Bondaseal's designed to do, is to give it that second coat before it dries completely. If you wait sort of 12 to 24 hours, and it goes reasonably hard, if you want to put a second coat on, then you're going to have to scratch that down with your wet and dry again before putting it on, because you need a scratch coat. So I don't know if you can see the detail on that. So I'm just trying to check for brush marks and runs and things like that, and I can't see any on there at all. So even with a small brush, a quick application, looking at that has had the desired effect. Okay, let's see if I can rotate that round for you. So no brush marks. The eyes, we've maintained the detail because obviously they're recessed, so there's no runs coming out of the eyes. And round by the gill plate, there's a slight raised area there, so we've got no runs coming off of that. And also where these split rings are housed, there's no runs coming out of there either. So it looks to me like it's done its job. The test, of course, will be to get it in the water and do a few retrieves on it and see how the Bondaseal holds up to the sort of roughness of the stones and things like that. So my suggestion is that if you're buying a brand new lure and it's cost you a few quid, you know, 20, 30 quid, and you want to protect it just for a little bit longer, put a scratch coat on it with a bit of wet and dry, use some Bondaseal, which you can get offline, and give it 1 or 2 coats. It's entirely up to you. So there we go, proof in the pudding that it can be done, and you can protect your pride and joy, your lures. Okay, quite happy with that. We'll get that out there and do a bit of road testing on it. Okay, thanks for watching. Catch up soon.